Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS, and it's Friday here in Melbourne, Australia. And today I have the wonderful, the amazing, the unique vocal stylings of Mark Turner. And we're going to kick off with one of his tracks. This is Conflicted. Let's do it, shall we? Boom.
Walking tall, but on my own. I have regrets not made of stone. I feel conflicted in my bones. I have regrets not made of stone. Won't you please leave me alone? Won't you please leave me alone? Don't you please, don't you dare leave me alone. My faith, I lost my way. I made mistakes on too many days. I faced the truth, not made of stone. But I'm so conflicted in my bones. Won't you please leave me alone? Won't you please leave me alone? Don't you please, don't you dare leave me alone.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the show. As I said in the beginning, my name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS, and this is the end of the week show where we do an interview. And we love the interviews. I love the interviews. They're the most fun of the week. Let me just fix a couple of things here. Take a second. You can go. Goodbye to you. All right. I hope you're all doing good. Today, I'm really super excited. I've wanted this person on the show for quite a while now. I first came across him on the Metalhead Hippie channel. Oh, by the way, too, that song was called Conflicted. So the lyrics were by Mark Turner and the music by Ian Luckett, who I'm sure many of you in the chat will know who these people are. Yes. I came across this particular artist over on Metalhead Hippie's channel and was like, who is this voice? Who is this gravelly, bizarre voice that I hear coming through my ears? I think most people will agree. Mark has an absolutely unique voice, and it's to die for. Absolutely. So I wanted to know so much more about this person about Mark, because he's a moderator over on Hippie's channel. He's now a moderator on Rock and Ron's channel. And I see him on like the Hippie Hang sometimes, but don't really know too much about him. So finally, I've got him on the show. And so without further ado, let's bring on the man of the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the amazing, the incomparable, the super talented Mark Tanner. Hi, Mark. What's going on?
How do I live up to that intro?
Just be.
Thank you.
You're up nice and early today with me. How's that feel?
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've seen this hour of the morning for quite a while. So,
For those of you who are living in the past, me and Mark are in Melbourne, Australia, and it is 8:10 a.m. And I have coffee. I need coffee.
Yeah.
It's damn early.
I've had one. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to dive straight in and ask the usual questions, get them out the way early, and then we shall say hello to folks after some questions, play some more music. Mark Tanner, what does music mean to you? Boom.
Well, pretty big question and probably a kind of standard answer, but it's kind of what's kept me alive over the last couple of years. It's, ever since this current world situation happened and everything changed. I had a lot of time on my hands, and if I didn't have the music around, I think I would have gone insane.
Yeah, absolutely. The great inconvenience has been exactly that, hasn't it?
Mm.
It's,
yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it's been inconvenient for many who've lost their lives and whose life situations have changed.
Yep.
But there has been quite a few people who've benefited from it. So with the good, there's always the bad. It's life.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely, well, it took me out of a 20-year career and sort of put me into the next stage of my life that I look at it at the moment. Is, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if it wasn't for it.
Let's get dirty already. So you've left. You say you've left behind this 20-year career, right? But do you feel happier right now? How do you feel like emotionally?
Yeah, still coming to terms with it in a lot of ways. I mean, a lot of things have happened to me over the last 3 years, but fairly content. But at the same time, there's still quite a bit of nervousness and anxiety there. It's, I don't know.
It's a really interesting thing. We were talking about it yesterday, It's such a very small community we have here on YouTube amongst these, what have we got, like 6 channels kind of thing, something like that roughly, where we all go around and share our music. But it feels so much bigger, right?
Yeah.
But it is very small. But what I've learned from this, doing this show, these interviews and, from doing the mental health and well-being stuff I do, we're all a bit broken.
Yep. I have to agree with that. I mean, basically, I became separated from my ex probably the end of, or most of the way through 2019, and then started to get my life back together and new house and all this kind of stuff and all that kind of arrangements and things. And then I'd just been to Denver, come back for Christmas and then off to Tokyo for another business conference, and then get back from that and COVID hits and I get a call from the big bosses going like, we're basically making you redundant. So, that kind of broke me.
Heavy.
I kind of had a nervous breakdown basically, and took some time to get over that. But Then I found the music community and kind of dragged myself out of a hole, set up my studio, and started to get back into the music.
Look, I opened with you know me. I don't really ever have I have some opening questions, but hey, wherever the interview goes, it goes, man, and that's where we're going to go with it. Because this is still around the first question: what does music mean to you? You know, when you write music, right? Do you feel you write better music when things are going good, or when shit's falling down the hole?
Yeah, that's a tough question. It's a bit of both. I mean, yeah, I'm at the old adage of from great suffering comes great art, or whatever.
Yep,
but
so they say.
yeah, at the same time, I think I've written better stuff when I'm in a good headspace,
Right.
but still drawing upon life experience. I mean, it's all of the stuff that I write really seems to be fairly about what I've been through.
Yeah, of course.
What I've done and all that kind of stuff. And I try to be fairly open about what I've been through and what I've done. So, yeah, it's no point hiding.
It's one of the things that I probably didn't say about you in the intro, which I feel like I don't need to, because I'm sure many of us who know you already know this, and I think most people who are going to watch this who know you previously will know this by the end, that you have a really big heart, and you do put a lot of people before you. I mean, I see you moderating and helping out on channels, and you get into it, man, and you want to see people succeed, and I see that really strongly.
Yep.
And for example, when Rock and Ronnie, bless his heart with his brain troubles, his brain fog, when he started his channel on YouTube, I was there as his moderator, and I knew I couldn't be there all the time, and he was talking to me saying, I really should get another mod, so the pressure's not on you. And I just said, Mark Tanner. And then about a week later, you messaged him and went, hey, Ron, would you mind if I did the moderating? And he's like, how did you know that, Jade? I'm like, I know everything, man. I can feel it.
And my first question to him was, as long as I'm not stepping on Jade's toes.
No way, man. Like even on my 500 show just recently, I had Thomas Christ on the show because I didn't want to talk up my channel. I do that all the time. That all the time. So I wanted to talk up somebody else, and Thomas has been at my channel since day one, and that's the same thing. I think there's this whole trickle down effect. This is the only time trickle down effect works for moderators on YouTube. You see somebody who's really got value and really cares and puts their others first and really cares, and you put them up for the job, and you obviously love this community. So how? I'm just jumping all over the place today. All right, that's so we'll go back. So you've been doing this role 20 years, and clearly you're traveling around. I mean, you are somebody who's traveled a fair bit, from what I gather, and you get this call, you get made redundant. What's the first thing that goes through your mind, during unprecedented times, man? Absolutely unprecedented times. Are you the type of person at that stage who feels I'm just going to give up, or was there at least some kind of hope that you want to?
Well, after 20 years with a multinational company, you kind of get packaged out well.
Yeah,
so there was no kind of panic there.
Yeah, financially it's all sweet.
Yeah, but that doesn't last forever, and it's getting to crunch time. But no, it was to be honest, the corporate world was kind of killing me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was responsible for my breakup and all that. Too much time working and too much time away from home. But yeah, I don't know. It in one way, yeah, it was like your world's kind of crashing in around you. But in the other, it was sort of like, well, okay, I've been here before. You know, I always feel blessed that I had that career.
Yep.
And that was well respected in the field that I was working in. So I kind of could go back to it if I wanted to, but at the same time, I don't really feel like I can go back to it again. It's just...
Do you want to?
No. No. It's so strange because really I was never the corporate kind of guy. Back in, what was it? It would have been like 98, 99 when I got into it. Yeah. I kind of look like this, except without the beard and a bit younger. But, you know, long hair and all the rest of it. But
bloody hippie.
Yeah. But knew my way around computers and, you know, had a real skill for that.
Yeah.
And just got married and kind of went, okay, so what am I going to do for a career? And fortunately got employed by a very large company and rapidly went through the ranks there. So, yeah.
I remember when my wife left me and I was devastated. And she ran away with a priest from the Salvation Army.
Oh, my God.
I laugh about it now. It was an odd situation. She's a lesbian married to a transsexual. Illegally, of course, because gay marriage wasn't a thing then, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was we spent $20,000 on a wedding that meant nothing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
whatever. But yeah, and somebody at her work told her that she had a drinking problem because she used to drink 3/4 of a bottle of wine each night. And I was like, that's not a drinking problem. A drinking problem is drinking 4 bottles a fucking night and not being able to go to work, right? And so she went and saw Alcoholics Anonymous, which was sponsored by Salvation Army. And the priest brainwashed her with religion and told her that you shouldn't.
Oh, my God.
And she fucking ran off with him. Now she's one of those.
Sounds like the Thornbirds.
Oh, man, it was so weird. Now she's like one of these fucking, what are they called? Keto diet specialists on Instagram. She looks like Skeletor. She's like dying away. So in a way, I'm like, now, yes, I dodged a fucking bullet, man. But not all things work out that way because there is that crashing low, man, when you think, fuck, my world's gone from out from under me. What the fuck am I going to do? Did you have friends around this time around you real or?
No, basically.
Right.
I'm here by myself.
Right.
I'm from Western Australia, from Perth.
Yep.
Born and bred, you know. I've lived at different points in my life around the different parts of the country, but yeah, I came here to get married because I met my wife in Perth, and when we wanted to start a family, we thought, okay, well, we'll get over here and be closer to her mother. But yeah, all my family and all my old friends and all the rest of it are actually in Western Australia. Got a couple in New South Wales, but yeah, it was yeah. I suppose fortunately I'm a bit of a loner anyway, but
Nothing wrong with that. So that's going to lead me to all right, but let's come back to it. Now, I did play the wrong song that I was going to play first because I just thought, when I looked at the title, I was going to play Conflicted last, actually. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to play it first because I just felt this is how the show's going to start. And I am going to mix things up a little bit than what we kind of discussed. So,
oh, that's cool, though.
You know, Hey, it's my show, and I'm going to fuck with you all, yeah? So, I'm going to play this because we're going to jump into a song, then we'll go back into the usual questions, and we'll come back to all this stuff because we'll do whatever. I'm going to play this. This is a song you did with Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do Child of the 60s. Let's do that. Let's do what we're going to do. Because this was your first collaboration, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how this came about.
Yeah, basically was just getting back into, performing music. I haven't actually performed since like 1982. So, I had a bit of a career in music. Behind the scenes was mostly where I spent my time, engineering and stuff. But when I came back into the fold and started with the hippie community, doing cover songs was cool. But I thought, okay, let me try and write something. So I sent these lyrics off to Ian, thinking, give this a go. And this kind of fell together in a matter of days. It was just too easy.
All right, let's bang it out. We'll come back then, say hello to people, and then we'll resume the conversation. So I do see you all here. Thank you all for being here. There's a massive number of you. Let's see this.
Yeah, sorry if I'm not typing in chat, guys, but
Holy
I can
shit,
see you all there.
38 of you.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So thank you all for being here. We'll say hello after this. Let's play a little bit more music, and we'll be back shortly. So put on your dancing shoes, folks, or whatever it is you put on your feet when you listen to music. What the hell am I talking about? You sure weirdo me. All right, we'll be back just in a moment. Enjoy. This is Child of the 60s, lyrics by Mark Tanner, and music by Ian Luckett. Let's do it, and we'll see you shortly. Boom.
Child of the 60s, educated in the 70s. I survived the 80s. Well, I don't know how. Grew up in the 80s. Had a family with me. But it's all gone now. It's all gone now. I just don't know. When will we love? When will we burn? We were never meant to be. All alone. All alone. Silence is not okay. Never was and never will be. Take a knee or plant a tree. Well, I just don't know. We're at our very best when things are at their worst. So take a stand and lend a hand. Sun will rise at daybreak and set at night. That's the only constant we have in life. So love while you can. Life is short. We are always one, always one.
What a beautiful song. So that was your first collab since coming into the Metalhead Hippies community.
Mm-hmm.
And really, what a great start to to all of the songs that you have. Now, today I'm playing original songs on the show. Guys, would you... No, so I don't get a claim or anything. But...
Yeah.
You guys know, well, if you don't, and we'll cover your channel soon, there's a whole heap of amazing covers you do that are just unbelievable. All right, so let's say hello to folks, and then we'll get back to it. I'm going to try and catch as many of you as I can. So now's the time to start typing. So your name pops up. Type something now, right? And then your name will pop up. Mr. Back from Doing Time. Zach Thong, the Padded Pedal Room, Laurie's Mishmash, Lure Reality, Auntie G says fantastic, Joe Glenn, Lars Guitars, a poet, he didn't know it, Kim Hardin Hudson says blah, 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 Metalhead Hippie, boom, Thomas Christ, Ian Luckett, Sith, Vasquez, Black Covers, hello, Roadie's Jam Cave, Texas, Jack Door, how you going? Dallin Do, Hetriani, yeah. Sean Chandler, John, David Lees, Tremor Bear, Laurie's Mishmash, Jack Flash, Feisty Feather. Did I say Joe Glenn already? I think I did. Forest of the Wolf. Who else have I got here? There's so many of you. SM Borthwick, Derek Smith, Marcus Cannell, hello to you. Keep it coming, folks, so I can read your name. It saves me scrolling up. You guys are doing good. Barry Glenn.
Manny with the Lily Pillies.
Lily Pillies. Welton Kinder, hello to you. Fan Preem, hello to you as well. I think we've got most people. If you've left a comment, I've got you. So if you haven't, this is the last chance now to throw something into the chat. Gregory O'Sullivan, you got in time. Well done, my friend.
Saw Marshall there.
Marshall is here,
well.
yeah. Deep Gravity. Lloyd Holler, is that Lloyd Hollerbeck? Is that how I say it? Yeah, I do. I think so.
Yeah.
The Felcrow.
Billy. Mr. Back from Doing Time.
Mr. Back, wiki, woo. I had a Pete Johns moment then. What the hell was wiki, woo? Guys, thanks all for being here. Thank you so much, as usual. It's always a pleasure, never a chore to see you all. Brad Example. Hello, Brad. You got in there nice and quick before we carry on.
And Jack
Flash. Jumping Jack Flash, gonna come on the show soon and show his face. And it's happening, folks. It's happening. All right. Let's talk about some music. So, do you recall the music that was played in your household growing up, Mark? And who was it? And has it influenced you?
Well, a lot of it was classical. My mother is a music educator and was a very well-respected one. She was the vice director of music in Western Australia for a long time, and then in some fairly prestigious schools as well. And I went through school on a scholarship, basically studying classical. But when it comes to more of the mainstream type stuff, I mean, because we're talking a long time ago now.
That's all right. We're all old here.
But it was more stuff like Cleo Lane, Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, then things like James Galway with his flute and lots of jazz. Not too much in the way of rock and roll in the household in general as a young kid.
Yeah, I was the same.
But
I had Olivia Newton-John 24 hours a day in my household.
Oh, yeah. I'm a bit older than that, so yeah. But fortunately, I had a lot of older cousins that travelled, and a couple that were in the Navy and stuff. So they'd always come back with records that they'd picked up in the States or in Europe and stuff. And so at a pretty early age, I was also exposed to, like really early Aerosmith and Stones and the Beatles and Floyd and Frampton, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, very, very broad range of music.
Do you think it's influenced you? Has that music stuck with you and your roots?
I suppose to a point. I mean, if you look at the stuff that I do with Great Vanzini, a lot of that is basically quite a few jazz standard type things, but also then some older 60s and 70s kind of stuff that was not rock and roll, but some classics that a lot of people have maybe forgotten about.
Well, this is the polite way of me saying how old are you without saying how old are you.
Oh,
no, I don't.
No secret there. Yeah.
It's not really why I wrote the question, but it always feels like it when I ask this question.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few of us here that are the same age.
I know it's a common thing. So I want to say hi to Saif and my moderator who's just got here as well. Good to see you, Si. So what was the first album that you purchased and was given, and what format was it on?
So the first one I purchased was actually Zeppelin 4.
What a great album to first buy.
Yeah. It was, I don't know, I think I'd heard Stairway on the radio or something, and that was just, something that caught my attention big time. As far as given, first one, because, I didn't get given a lot. The first one I remember, so it's a fair bit later, would have been the Jazz album by Queen.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Because my mother that was a band that she could respect as a classical musician. She kind of wasn't into a lot of the stuff that I liked, but
what parent is?
I remember her being absolutely shocked though when I've opened up the Jazz album and the big posters falling out of the centre of it for Fat Bottom Girls.
Excellent.
Which is like 200 naked women sitting on push bikes. I think I was about 13 or something.
Perfect material for a 13-year-old.
Yeah. That was fun.
Absolutely. All right, so clearly you're into music by this stage. I'm curious to know, so during school or wherever, did you ever have music lessons, anything like that?
Yeah, well, I went through high school on a music scholarship.
Yeah, right, yes.
So yeah, that was kind of interesting because I had, music was as everyone does, maths, English, social studies and all that as core subjects. I had music added to that for the same amount of time. I also had instrument lessons were like 8:30 on a Tuesday morning or 7:30 on a Tuesday morning before school, and then choir after school one time a week, and then my Saturday mornings from 9 till 12 were taken up with orchestra practice, and I did that all the way through high school. So by the end of high school, I kind of had a gutful.
It sounds like we had almost the same schooling, because in Victoria I did the same thing. It was an equal balance all the way through my schooling, high school, of music and all the the subjects you have to do. I'm so thankful for that stuff. There were times I hated it and was like, oh my God, why am I doing this?
Oh, that's it. I wouldn't change it for the world. But I tell you, having your mother as the senior mistress of music at the school that you're going to for 4 out of 5 years was kind of interesting.
Did you cop shit for that?
Not from school friends or anything like that, but there were a couple of teachers that were a little interesting to deal with. So yeah,
right.
But she was held in high regard by the rest of the teaching staff. There was just a couple that made life a little interesting for me at times.
So they were probably really nice to her and looked up to her, and then when she wasn't around, they were an asshole to you. Is that right?
There was a couple of occasions like that. I remember actually telling my mother about one because most of them I'd just go, yeah, whatever. And then yeah, one of them in particular took me aside one day and told me what a disgrace I was to my mother and all this kind of thing, and that kind of hurt. And I went when I got home that night, I was pretty kind of morose about it all, and actually told her about it. So there was a few fireworks in the staff room apparently the next day.
Man, human beings can just be real muck on a pig's dick, can't they?
Yeah, totally.
It amazes me how what goes through the mind of a human being that just decides, you know what, today I'm just going to go and do this. And you think, what benefit did you get from that? Well, do you go home and masturbate over that? I mean, really, you know, how can you possibly feel good about yourself? Look in the mirror and just go, well, I achieved that today. It's people have really low goals to aim for sometimes, and that energy would be put in such a better place for so many better things. It's weird how we how we as a species go down that path sometimes. So you're doing music lessons, and what would be your main thing that was your focus during these music lessons? What was the thing that you loved the most to play?
Well, it's kind of funny because I studied violin for, like, I think in the end it was probably nearly 20 years.
Wow.
But to be completely honest, I didn't really enjoy the violin.
No.
I enjoyed playing when I was playing with the orchestra, but that was more just the fact that you were in an orchestra with a whole bunch of friends and creating music. But yeah, it wasn't really I suppose I picked up a guitar probably about halfway through high school, and then a couple of friends and I used to just sit and play. But yeah, that was only like sitting in our lounge room or something like that, playing with my friends. But yeah, I was outside of lessons and all of the other, because I was, like I said, I was doing music in one morning a week, learning an instrument. I had music as a core subject just about every day during school hours, and then choir and orchestra and stuff like that. I got more into sports outside of school, really.
Well, I'm curious about this because, you know, and I saw Ian Luckett. Ian Luckett's on the same page as me. Because a lot of us here who are in the chat and know you from around here on YouTube, around these parts, know you for your singing. So was singing a thing back then through school? Was that something that you were encouraged to do?
Well, choir.
Yep.
You know, and I really enjoyed that. Probably because to me it was easy. Yeah, I didn't have to practice 3 hours a day or whatever to play something. To sing it was, just came kind of naturally. But always during that time, I would never have thought of singing any of the stuff that I do now, because basically I was a choir boy. I was a high tenor, hitting high A's and even C's. It's not a great stretch, but my voice didn't sound anything like it does today.
I was going to say, I could just imagine your choir back then with all these angelic voices and you coming and going, oh, yeah, man. I'm like, what the hell? There's a lawnmower in the choir. Because you do have this amazing raspy voice now, which is quite characteristic of you. I mean, I really love vocalists who have been able to create a voice that you distinctively know as soon as you hear it. These days, well, since the 80s, there's been a whole lot of artists who can't do that, because we went through the 80s with our, factory-made stuff, and then we went through boy band, all this shit. So it is quite hard to create a distinctive voice. How what was the journey with your voice going from the choir boy? And if there are any priests here, settle down. What was the journey of your voice going from that angelic choir boy to the gravelly, unique stylings of Mark Tanner now?
No real process. I mean, probably years of abuse, but abuse of my throat and lungs and all the rest of it. But it kind of, like I said, I hadn't performed and I hadn't sung or recorded anything until the beginning of 2020.
Wow.
Since like 1982. So yeah, I kind of opened my mouth and that's what came out, So, but I don't know. I know, being classically trained as a vocalist as well as an instrumentalist, all the grounding was there. I kind of know how to do stuff. So, I wasn't going to try and force anything that wasn't coming. But I mean, that was kind of why a lot of the time particularly during the late 80s, early 90s, that when I was amongst a lot of well-known musicians in Australia, that I kind of always wanted to sing with them, but at the same time kind of went like my voice had changed back then and got a lot deeper, and always felt that, hey, you want to sing like Joe Elliott or whatever, and can't do that anymore, and then that kind of put me off, and I just kept on doing all the behind the scenes stuff, and it was really only until I found the hippie community, made the mistake of making a donation to the channel and getting hassled to go, okay, so when are you going to put something out? So, and then...
That doesn't sound like hippie at all.
No, ask you.
Boom, when are you going to get some music out of me? Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, but then, I put out that Coldplay cover of Fix You, which kind of got a lot of attention. And then, the rest's kind of history. But Fix You got me collaborating with one of my, what I consider my closest friends now, is with Marshall. I've known Marshall for more years than I've known the hippie community, but and I brought him into that. But he kind of got behind me and taught me a lot of stuff on crossing the bridge between the analog and digital world. Taught me a lot there, and has just been super supportive ever since.
I love how you make it sound like some kind of international drug cartel. I bought him in, and the big boss man hippie sat there and said, "Yeah, boom, you can come in, boom." Hippie's the godfather. That's what it feels like.
Well, I mean, it's amazing the relationships that we've got now. I mean, the other guy who is really probably my best friend in the world now, Texas Jackdaw and Tim Roberts. It's I can't believe that we're doing collaborations now that involve people from Scotland, Texas, Australia, Oregon, LA. It's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. It blows my mind every day seeing, just even on my channel alone. No, let's just seeing the amount of creativity that's coming out of people and the amount of support too. It's an amazing thing. Now, I've had both Marshall and Tim on the show, and both amazing artists. Because we touched on this in the beginning of the show too. You're from WA, you're here in Victoria, you don't have a lot of friends. So now, though, since I've known you, it seems like you have a very rich network of friends. I mean, I know Tim said when he was on the show that you two get on the phone and natter on for hours and hours like a couple of old handbags. So,
not far wrong there.
What goes on? And I'm curious. I didn't ask Tim in that interview. So, what are some of the filthy little secrets you can tell us about those conversations that you have with Tim while he's getting off his face?
Probably not a lot. We'll natter on for hours, but not about anything particularly constructive or that interesting. I don't think. But a lot of life stories. But I don't know.
I'm throwing you under the bus here for no reason.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of amazing to me that. As we've got to know each other, that the parallels between what we've done over the years are so close. Apart from the fact that while he was performing, I was doing the engineering part of it. But just even in jobs that we've done, it's outside of music. I worked in printing for quite a while, and so did Tim at a similar sort of time. But it's life experiences and all the rest of it. There's a lot of parallels, but I look at that and go, well, we've both had fairly rich and I don't know, a lot of different life experiences. We haven't stuck at the same thing all the time, done a lot of things, and that kind of gives more opportunity for parallels to actually happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, this is all around 2020. Our 2020, man, let's just say it was a motherfucker. And, we're still in the tail of it. Things are getting a little bit better. And by the way, thank you, Metalhead Hippie, for the kind super chat. If you like the super chat, guys, it's always appreciated, never expected. Let's just throw that out there. So look, 2020 was a motherfucker. It came out of nowhere. I know people get weird about saying the C word and all that shit. I just call it the inconvenience now because it was for a lot of us. You're going through heavy shit. You find Hippie's channel and you start making music. How can I put this? Do you think this experience with the pandemic and all this stuff, have you benefited from it mentally overall coming through it? Have you, I know you were going through some pretty tough stuff, but looking at it now, 2 years later, do you think you're starting to find a better place through the music that you're creating through this community?
Yes, but still kind of, I don't know, still on the road. I don't know. I've kind of been treading water for the last 2 years. I don't know how to explain it. It's still tough, but I feel like I have a lot of friends now. The fact that they're not here and they're online, I still know that at any point in time I can reach out and they're always there for me. But I don't know. I'm still healing, Jade. Really.
Yeah. Look, and we all are. I think we mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I think everybody's gone through some pretty horrific stuff, and if we sat here and listed everybody's shit that we're going through on this show would finish next Sunday, because there is a lot of pain that we're all dealing with, be it physical, be it mental. It is and it's something that I think more of us need to talk about, because if we bottle it all up, we'll end up falling down rabbit holes like some people and end up thinking that everyone's trying to poison us and put chips in our brains and all this shit. Because, you know, was there because I'll be honest with myself, I went when I was facing illness, even before the pandemic, when I was struggling really bad with my illness, I fell down into fucking some rabbit holes and started believing some of the shit that people are believing now, way before they were believing it now, and I was able to dig myself out of that really quickly.
Well, that was part of the why I got back into my music, and I find writing, because most of the stuff I do is lyrics. I found that actually just, you know, I keep a notepad open on my desktop all the time, and just like letting a stream of consciousness fall out of my head, create some good lyrics at times, but it's also just really cathartic to get that stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely. So you find Metalhead Hippie. He pressures you to put out some songs. You do it. And then all of a sudden, you've got this whole list of people wanting to collaborate with you. Who are some of the people that you've collaborated with off the top of your head? This is...
Wow, okay.
This is... Right, memory test.
Yeah, you got Ian to start off with, obviously, and then Marshall Turner and Trevor D, who's kind of gone MIA. Kev Lynn, Lady Rode Line Straight, Great Vanzini, Tim Roberts, Laurie's Mishmash, Hugh Colwell, just trying to think if Hetriani has done a track with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of Bobby Lopes, the Guitar Hack. Yeah, it's funny. If I look on my channel, there's a folder there called collaborations, and there's like 35 tracks in there.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm going back to the start of your YouTube journey here. This is like your first video on here is only from a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that, because the first one would have been 2020, about May.
It could be just YouTube's really shit with...
which would have been that For My Kids, which was actually a cover of Fix You.
And there's your first collaboration, which we just played there. So
yeah, it's funny. It might have just...
It's just YouTube, man.
Reordering
It's
stuff.
just YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube's terrible, man. There's a thing on my YouTube channel at the moment that says we can't work out how many subscribers you've had since the 17th of January to the 27th of January. And there's just this huge gap. And I'm like, why can't you work it out? It's been like 3 weeks. Oh, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's just like sitting there and I'm thinking, how are they going to fix that? And I reckon eventually someone's going to go, just make the call. Just make up a number and hit go. Like, how are they going to fix that? YouTube's a mess, man. So, how many videos are on here? Does it give you a list? Because now I want to know about this too. Let's talk about this. Where did this symbol come from?
It's actually my initials.
Right. Because I've had a...
So there's MBT.
Aha.
Yeah. Because I've had people go, is this some kind of... religious hang-up or something like that you've got there with the...
If you turn on your head on the side, kind of this way, it kind of looks a little bit like a cock and balls. But then that says more about me than anything else, I think, doesn't it?
There's definitely some sort of phallic symbolism in there somewhere. But yeah.
I think I might need to see a psychiatrist after that. What the hell?
It's funny because I drew that freehand at some point and kind of went, I need a brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was kind of I was originally going to clean it up, but make the edges of the lines a lot sharper and all that kind of stuff. But the more I looked at it, the more I sort of went, no, it works the way it is.
Yeah, I love that it's off center as well, and I think you can. There's a lot of people out there who try and make everything so perfectly even and all of that kind of stuff, and that not everything's perfect. And I think that's really a good thing to keep that rawness to it, because you are a very raw performer. Well, how do you choose the covers that you perform? What's the process of that? Is it a mixture of like things you like or things you want to challenge yourself to sing or play on?
There's a bit of both. Some of it's I like to kind of challenge myself a bit. I've been trying to push the old vocal range a little bit lately, but a lot of it is stuff I remember that I'm not hearing a lot of anymore.
Yep.
Particularly in the case of the stuff that I do with Great Vanzini. But then, working with Marshall, it's kind of throwing Marshall lyrics and Marshall coming up with some pretty heavy shit and going like, okay, we can do something with this and let's take it somewhere different. And then, Tim comes up with absolutely beautiful music. So, stuff kind of just hits me.
Yep.
And then I have things like the track that Marshall and Tim and I did, the Gravediggers song by Mark Lanigan.
What an awesome song that is.
That was Brad Example pinging me and going, hey, you ever heard this song? And I listened to it once and went, oh yeah.
Yeah, Brad never lets us forget it on Clubhouse. He pointed that out to you.
Well, it was funny because I've listened to it once and gone like, oh yeah, I can do this, and the next day Marshall had actually pinged me and gone, hey, what do we work on next? And I've gone, oh, have you ever heard this track? Sent it to him, and within 8 hours or something, I get a fully produced backing track coming back to me going like, hey, I've just done this. So we kind of set a bit of a record on that one. I think we finished a full music production and video in 28 hours or something. I think it was. So yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Well, I'm gonna play another original track, which I wasn't planning on, but I can, because this has got a few other different people in it. And we discussed this yesterday when we had a quick chat. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to throw this one up. So this is a collaboration. Let me bring it up.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's just bring it here so you can see what it is. Hit pause.
I can kind of guess what it's going to be.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Well,
tell us about this.
To a bit of history on this one too is that this was released a year ago, like yesterday or the day before.
Perfect.
But the story behind it was Kevin reached out to me at one point and said, would you like to write something with me? I went, yeah. And he sent me the guitar track that he'd done. And I listened to it and then had a chat with him going like, what were you thinking of when you wrote this? Tell me a story. I kind of need some kind of inspiration to get into your headspace or whatever. And he told me this kind of sad but lovely story. And that spawned the lyrics. And at the same time, he was asking Lady Rodaline to join in on a duet. So that kind of worked really well. And then what I didn't know at the time was he also asked then Marshall and I think it was Kaikang drums to add some guitar and drum to it as well. So yeah, that one kind of worked out to be a few more than we thought was going to be in it originally.
So it became an orgy, basically. What can never be became what can be for all of you.
Oh, yeah.
All in, everyone. Let's go.
but it came out
Yeah,
lovely.
all right.
Yeah.
Let's play it. Folks, chill your beans, put on your happy dancing shoes, and let's play this, and we'll be back with you shortly, all right? This is What Can Never Be. Let's do it. And boom. Make sure my volume's up.
I'll hold you and everybody out in YouTube land. Definitely go check out Mark Tanner and Lady Rodaline Straight. You will find their descriptions. You will find their link in the descriptions. And of course, don't forget about Metalhead Hippie, without whom I never would have met these two brilliantly talented individuals, or anybody else in this community for that matter. So his link will be in the description too. I urge you to go check it out. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Come join our family. Bye.
Damn straight. The only thing...
Yeah, well said, Kev. Yeah.
The only thing that would have made that even 100% better is if Kevlin had been wearing his feather boa and his guitar earrings, and he had said, "Let's see how it goes." That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
I love Kev.
It's funny listening to that. Yeah, the production values on it in comparison to way back then to now. Yeah, I can hear some improvements.
Absolutely, and those that's a good point you make too. I think it's important to. There are people out there who have videos up on YouTube, and as they get better, they go back and remove things, and which I think is such a disservice to themselves because, like, I want to see where people have come from. I want to see a journey because if you go through somebody's channel, you can always see a journey, and I think it gives you a perspective on who the artist is, where they've come from, without actually having to do an interview like this. You can actually see the growth. I think it's an important thing to leave up for people. So they can appreciate just where you are now. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely. And like my relationship with Tim and Marshall, that has, as far as production goes, that has just been so valuable to me. Apart from them being great friends, the stuff that I've learnt from both of those guys. I mean, I'm a trained engineer to start off with from back in the 80s, but to swap over to the digital thing was, even though it should have been really simple, it was kind of hard to get my head around, and Marshall helped me through that a lot. And then between Marshall and Tim, to refine the way that I produce things, it's just been invaluable.
So now looking back, going through that change, going from, analog world to digital, do you think we're in a better place in a digital world?
Kind of. It definitely makes things easier in a lot of ways. But when I watched an interview with Dave Grohl recently, and he was talking about it too, and saying that there's a lot of challenges you have doing stuff in the analog space that actually help you create stuff that is a little bit more out there. It's fun to be able to push a button and make stuff happen, but it doesn't necessarily make you a better musician.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the irony is, and because I do a show every day on apps and stuff like that, the irony is there's so many apps that come out that are digital, recreating analog stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, the latest one that I saw that was introducing tape noise.
Oh yeah, there's heaps of them.
What the fuck? What do we really have to go there?
Yeah, tape warble.
Vinyl noise I can kind of live with, but this was like tape hiss. Yeah. And it was like, come on,
there's heaps
really?
of them, man. There's one that I forget. I think it's called Fly Tape 2. Warble, tape flutter, tape hiss. It's all in there, man. You can totally destroy. Hey, I get it for maybe stuff lo-fi. I can see it has a place for a moment. But like, why you would want to turn your music into that sound that we all hated as kids?
Well, the funny thing is that I can actually do that anyway, regardless, just using a bit crusher.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the other thing is there's a lot of people producing stuff out there that are just using presets, and that kind of, I can understand it, and it's really good. It's a good place to start. But if you want to take it seriously, you've got to get past it.
Yeah, presets are an amazing thing to learn an app or learn a process, because you can actually see, you can load up a preset and see what all those settings are. And you can get an idea of how they got to that by going backwards. So there's definitely a place for presets. And, you know, some of the presets that are in some of the apps I look at every day are just fucking mind-blowing. But it's one of the things I try and do on my show, and it can get a bit boring sometimes. I try and make it fun, but go through, here's where everything is, here's what everything does, and do the presets last. I know there's some channels that just go, hey, here's a new app, and here's the preset, all right? And here's all the presets in there. And that's all great, you know, because you want to know what's in there. But the presets, you've got to know where everything is to then listen to the presets and then find your way backwards. It's a good way to start.
Yeah, work out how it does stuff and what it's for. I mean, it's a lot of these apps and things like that, they're really fun to play with. I mean, you hear that nightmare experimental thing that I did. I did that originally just using a compressor and a bit of reverb, but just overdriving the hell out of stuff and doing some ridiculous things with it. And I happened to watch one of your shows which had that crazy, I can't remember the name of the app, but it's basically a delay that grows out of trees.
Oh, yeah.
And then you make the wind blow across the tree and it does all kinds of crazy things as well.
Chow something.
Unfortunately, that
Chow.
that one had a PC variation of it, so dropped that into Reaper, and that was kind of interesting.
Was it Chow Matrix? That's what it's called.
Yeah, Chow Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting to try and work out how to use that thing. That one with the challenge.
I had that app for like a week and a half before I did the show, just trying to work out how to use it because I couldn't find instructions anywhere. I'm like, what the hell? This is going to be mayhem. And it still was mayhem. Like, I mean, the app is made to create mayhem. All right, let's talk about that too, because, you know, and I am going to play that song next, actually, because I'm into noise and mayhem, deconstructed sounds, shit that challenges people, because I think there's room for that kind of music in the entire space of music, because there are people out there who classify noise as music. And it can be musical because noise has frequencies and tones, and you can make it musical. And to some ears, they'll be like, that's just fucking noise.
My younger brother is like a world-class percussionist. Not a drummer, a percussionist, so plays tune percussion. But he's classical, but writes a lot of new classical music. And the stuff that he plays, I mean, I've watched him set up recitals that he's done where he's got saw blades and PVC pipes and, you know, you name it, anything you can bang on. Basically, he's got sitting on stage. And yeah, it's to some people, it's a lot of noise. But to a trained ear, it's more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, I don't know if you've ever come across this guy's channel. I'm sure I won't get a claim for it. This guy's channel is called The Vape. And, guy, if you want to check out something that'll do your head in, trust me, because this is going to lead in perfectly to your noise track. You got to check out this guy. He makes contraptions, and he makes musical noise out of it.
Yeah, I've actually seen some.
Yeah, so this is a video he's just put up an hour ago. Let's have a listen and see what he's put up an hour ago. It looks disturbing already. It looks like a child's xylophone with a piece of wood with a guitar string and a beater attached to it. Let's see.
That's actually a
glockenspiel. Sorry, I'm saying xylophone.
Yeah, no.
Look at this shit. Let's see what it sounds like, shall we?
It's kind of disturbing.
It is. He's utterly off his guts, this guy. The shit he does is totally mental. So check that out, guys, if you want to hear something really off the wall. I've got a subject there, but I think I post one of his videos on my Facebook once a week just to terrify people, in the hope that the people who I don't like on my friends list will fuck off after seeing it. That's why I do it. That's not music.
And Black Covers just asked a question there. Is Paul Tanner my brother? And yes, he is.
Is there a Paul Tanner in the chat? Oh.
No. But he's toured internationally with orchestras and stuff like that. So whether Ingo's come across him at some point in time, I don't know.
That wouldn't surprise me. It's Ingo's musical prowess.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a song with Ingo as well too, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
A song?
Good grief. Well, apart from the Christmas thing. Yeah, we did Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah, you did too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was very cool.
Yeah.
Kind of intimidated by all the beautiful people that Ingo puts in his videos, but, yeah.
We're all beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's the process of that? So for those people who don't know the process of how Ingo goes about doing his songs, tell us how he does that, because I'm sure there are people interested in it.
Basically, Ingo sent me a almost complete backing track that he'd put together for the song. He'd already done a fair amount of arrangement and editing, because you don't want to do a 6-minute song.
Yep.
We kind of want to cut it down. He sent me that. I did vocals and a couple of videos, send it back to him. He mixes it up, changes whatever he wants to in his arrangements, because he was still developing the orchestral part of it. Send it back, have a listen, say okay. He then finalises the video and sends it through to you for final approval, and then you run with it. It's quite simple with Ingo. And I mean, honestly, the collaborations that I do with most people, someone's got an idea, or I have an idea, I'll reach out to someone, they'll reach out to me and go, hey, can you do this? You look at it and go, yes, I can, or no, I can't. But it's really just staying in touch and communicating, trying to keep egos out of the picture and things like that, which I've found in all of the cases with the people I work with, that none is involved anyway. So yeah, it's just pick a track, you do your bit, I'll do my bit, we'll put it together, both listen to it, work out how it's sounding, and if we got suggestions, make the changes, and away you go.
Laurie's Mishmos asked, why didn't you ever post Kiss You All Over? With a joke.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I even got the final video track from Laurie. I know Laurie posted it, but yeah, if you give me access to the final tracks, Laurie, I'll put it up.
Let him in. I'm thinking I would love to have black covers on this show. I don't know. Now that there's a whole lot of people, there's 41 people, I can put him under the pump. And I think it'd be really good to do one of the sponsored shows with DistroKid. Then I can play all this stuff and know even if I get a copyright claim, I'm going to get covered for it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Put a 1 in the chat if you think we should pressure Black Covers to come on the show and reveal who Black Covers is. That would be very interesting. Or don't put a 1 in the chat. I think it'd be really cool. I would love to know more about Black Covers because Ingo seems quite elusive.
Yeah, although I had a feeling I saw something in a chat not so long back that he was going like he'd be interested in doing it. So.
Well, yeah, I would definitely love to do that. So hopefully that's going to be a thing.
It's like everybody else
wants
is agreeing there.
Everybody wants it. Either our mics are okay or everybody wants it. So as long as nobody's putting a 2, I think we're okay. You have a bad German accent. That's all right. I have a bad Australian accent, Black Covers. So, so you're all good, man. Hey, it's all good. I don't think anybody would give a shit about that. I'm gonna play this track, then we'll come back and talk about the gear you use to make music, and then we'll bring it on home because I want to play this a cappella Nightmare Part 2. Do you want to tell us? You told us a little bit about how it was created.
Yeah, basically it's just my vocals stuck through, like I said, a big chain of compressors and some reverb, and just creating noise.
Yeah, I love noise. All right, let's do this, and then we'll bring it on home and we'll wrap it all up and drive it home. Guys, get ready for some absolute chaos. I love chaos. Makes me happy. All right, let's do it. This is titled 2021 Acapella Nightmare Part 2. Let's do it, shall we? Boom. Hold me. Jesus. I'm scared.
Well, I thought Nightmare was quite appropriate for that one. So,
Now, it's interesting. I have a lot of people who say to me, you know, because I have hours and hours and hours of that similar kind of stuff for my utensils thing, which has been going for over 10 years. And I've had a lot of friends who make music go, what you're doing with utensils is just fucking noise. And my rebuttal always is, if it wasn't for noise, half the horror films that you watch wouldn't be as eerie as what they are. Because you look, even like things like Star Wars, right? Like the way they got the sound of Chewbacca was pretty much like, I think it was like closing a drawer or something like that, created the actual sound, or something getting dragged across a table. It's noises and things and random things that you find out, and the way you use vocals and effects and all these kind of things that creates this kind of stuff. It's an integral part of soundtracks that people forget. So whenever I come across somebody like that, I pretty much tell them, fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. Noise is music. Noise is atmosphere, and it creates unease. It creates tension. It's an amazing thing that people need to embrace. There you go. There's my rant for the day. Noise is cool. And I was so stoked to see that, you know, you were doing noise as well. And I call it noise, or avant noise, I like to call it, just to be trendy.
Well, soundscape.
Yeah, soundscape, yeah. Soundscape makes it sound too posh, I reckon. Noise makes it sound more like sandpaper across your balls. So let's talk gear. What do you use? So using a computer, what kind of apps do you use? Recording programs, all that kind of stuff. First, we'll kick off with that.
Okay. So basically, I'm running a big HP workstation. So it's pretty damn powerful, running dual CPUs and terabyte or two of RAM, with lots of storage and all that kind of stuff. As far as a DAW goes, Reaper is my tool of choice. Gear-wise, I've got a couple of condenser mics, got some 58s as well, but mostly I use a condenser just because it makes it easy to capture as much as possible. That running into a 12-channel Yamaha desk, which you might have seen Jeff play with, but yeah.
I've seen Jeff play with some desks, I'll tell you what, for hours.
That one. Yes, haven't we all?
We've both been there.
that I've got running into a Steinberg UR22. There's a Logitech 922 sitting in front of me. Another one sitting on top of the monitor, and another 1080p webcam sitting up in the corner. And a couple of notebooks, keyboards, guitars.
How many guitars do you have?
Around about 37.
Jesus Christ. I was going to say, not just in that room.
No, there's about 9 in here. But yeah, they're in every room in my house, basically, along with amplifiers and all the rest. So
would you call yourself a hoarder?
Not really. It's more of a collection.
It's a fine line behind collection and hoarder. Wasn't that a song?
And Marshall, what are you talking about? I hate that retune thing. It doesn't understand. It doesn't understand my voice.
So retune's not a favourite, I'm gathering.
It can never work out what to do with my voice. There's too many harmonics in it. It like gives you this range of,
Yeah, those kind of vocal apps are difficult. You know, I see people on my channel when I do a show on like a vocal harmonizer and stuff like that, they leave comments saying, but it doesn't work. And it's like, and I always just want to write, it's because you're doing it wrong. Because it is like when Apple
totally.
say that, right? When Apple released the iPhone 4, there was this problem with the antenna, and it was cutting out internet. And when you held it in a certain place, because the antennas are on the outside, and Apple's response was, "You're holding it wrong." And that was a totally dumb thing to say, but in relation to vocal harmonizers, you're doing it wrong because the thing is. And I'll get your take on this too, is you have to keep your vocal as simple as possible to make it work. You can't overdo a vocal, because when you overdo it with like vibrato and you try to do too much, it can't handle it. It freaks the fuck out and tries to do too much with you, and it's not a human voice.
The biggest problem with my voice is there's so many overtones in it as far as harmonics go. So that kind of gets in the way a little bit. But yeah, I don't know that I've ever used any kind of auto-tune type thing. I think sometimes working with Tim and Marshall, that they've actually tuned a couple of bits that I've done with them, not in a auto-tune type fashion, but just correcting a couple of notes here and there, which I don't have any problem with.
Well, auto-tune's definitely different than a harmonizer, you know, because people think, even with auto-tune, they think it can fix their voice, and it's not. It actually wasn't made to do that. Things like Melodyne are made to do that. We can actually take the note and move it on a frame, on a system, you know. But auto-tune just turns you into T-Pain. That's it. I don't want to sound like T-Pain. Sorry.
No.
Or sure.
And it's funny actually. The newer versions of it are becoming more and more usable. But again, it's something that I wouldn't like to depend on. If I do it wrong, I just do it again.
Absolutely. Well, you shouldn't depend on things like, what do they say? Get it right in the mix, get the performance right. It's all those things. You got to get a performance right, and those things are always meant to be, like sprinkles on a cake. It's decoration on the top to add flavor to make it better. But there are people out there who it's just from inexperience too, who just believe auto-tune can fix stuff, And like when I hear, for example, I'm not a Cher fan, but when I hear Cher sing, like throughout her entire career, the girl can sing. But then when I hear I Believe in Love or whatever it's called, and I hear the auto-tune, I think, you sound like dog shit. Like now, you didn't need that. You got a voice, honey.
Although, again, I don't mind when it's used as an effect.
Yeah, of course.
Like I really like Imogen Heap.
Yep.
And it's used effectively, but again, I would say if you took the auto tune away from Imogen Heap and listened to them, that they would sound fantastic anyway. It's then used as an effect. But to use it as a crutch is kind of maybe you need to practice more or something.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Save your money and get a few lessons just on the basics, and that would serve you so much better. Like the basics of working out what key is right for you, to know your range. What's your advice to people who because you see it a lot as a singer, you'd see this too. And look, Preston writes it here. I can't sing and play at the same time. But you see people say like, I'm a terrible singer. Bear wrote it before, I'm a terrible singer. And a lot of the time people who write that can sing. The first hurdle is getting over saying I can't sing. What are your advice to people who think they can't sing?
Oh, that's a tough one. Basically, you just got to do it. Grab some backing tracks, sing some songs, record it, and listen to it. We're all our own worst critics, really. And as a singer, I mean, that was probably the hardest thing for me to start off with when I started doing stuff on YouTube, was confidence to actually do it. Because everybody to start off with hates the sound of their own voice. But you do it, put it out there, and people start to listen to it and start to give you feedback on it. Do it in a small group to start off with people you trust, But listen to the advice that you get, or the comments that you get, and basically once you start recording more and more and listening back to yourself more and more, you kind of get desensitized to that I don't like the sound of my own voice. And then when people hear it and go, that sounds great, and all the rest of it, in the end you kind of change your opinion.
Yeah.
Go, well, I actually can do that. Yeah.
Well, I've done I got a little playlist on just 2 shows on the basics of just finding your key, finding your range and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the
thing.
other thing is, like, my biggest thing, and particularly with covers, is I don't try to imitate the original artist. If I do a cover, it's my interpretation, and most of the time I will do an arrangement as well. It's not like the original thing. I'll either rip it back and make it acoustic, or change timing, do it more of a jazz style. I don't know. I'll just do something different to what the original was, but also in a key that I can handle. Don't always try to go for
Don't overreach.
The original. Yeah. It's and tried that, and I know it doesn't work, but also once you're confident, you start to work out that going from a chest voice to a head voice, and it's a lot of it's practice. That chest, head, and then falsetto. You can make that transition without it being like, oh, all of a sudden I'm trying to talk like Alvin the Chipmunk, or and it actually becomes musical. But it's it's all practice.
Yeah, have a non-sexual relationship with your voice. Get to know it, understand it. Because and sing within your wheelhouse. Like I do. I used to teach singing myself, and would have people turn up and go, "Oh yeah, so I want to sing like Mariah Carey." I'm like, "Fucking what?" Like, this is your first lesson. Like, fucking pull your head in. Right?
Land the walk.
Like, put some socks on first. Jesus. Like, and it's why I used to recommend the song to sing is Georgia on My Mind to all my students, because it's one of those songs that has every single note in it. And you can...
I love that track.
It's an amazing track, and you can find online karaoke versions of it in every single key. So you will find one in your key on YouTube with no vocal. And trust me, if you can sing it in a key that suits your voice, you will have covered every single note within a scale beautifully.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, one of the tools that I use, and probably don't anymore, but started off with karaokeversion.com. Great website. You can basically punch in just about any tune and it'll come up, and a fully produced backing track. But you can also do a custom backing track on it, which will then allow you to download individual stems for every instrument and put that in any key that you want as well. It costs like a couple of dollars for...
What's it called?
karaokeversion.com.
I'll just bring it up here.
But, it saves people from going online and looking at YouTube and trying to get some kind of YouTube downloader and basically pinching somebody else's backing track, and finding that you kind of get all kinds of problems when you use it. And for a couple of dollars a track, it's well worth the effort. And like I said, if you on the top there, you'll see where it says custom backing track. If you go to any track within there under the custom, that you'll see that it actually brings up the track, bust it into
Oh,
like
wow.
10 or 12. So you can do a mix right there if you want, changing volumes and all the rest of it, and then download it. But where it's got the solo button on the very end, if you solo a particular stem, you can download just that stem. So to do a really good mix, I will basically download all of those individually
Yeah, cool. Look at that. You can solo it.
and then remaster it.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow, I didn't even know this existed. You've taught me something new. Thank you so much.
No, it's a really cool
Yeah.
tool. You know, I mean, you're going to get claimed on doing stuff out of it anyway.
course.
You know, just about every bloody every track you cover is going to get claimed by someone. But yeah, I think it's a much better way to do it than searching out backing tracks on YouTube and then using pirate tools to actually download them and then using that. It's that to me is just not right.
Yeah, I've got into the habit of downloading. So in GarageBand, how I make cover tracks is you just go and find the MIDI for a track, which gives you at least the basis, and then open it up in GarageBand and then totally because you can't use those. They sound terrible. But what's good about them?
And if you've got the MIDI and then you've got decent synth stuff sitting on your machine, then
you've got the basis, so you can hear what's wrong with it, and you can remove the bass line, remove the guitar line, and then you can play your own guitar over the top, play your own bass over the top, and then
the great thing is it gives you a good drum track to start.
And then you can with all the great apps on iOS and all that stuff, you can just add your own drums and add your beats in because it's all MIDI. You can do that. And some of my cover tracks that I do on the weekend shows, you can't even tell. It's like, it sounds like the original because I've built it up that way. Takes a bit of time, take you a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly.
But absolutely worth it compared to using the crappy stuff that you find on YouTube. All right. I think we're pretty much here, and just as Tim's saying, this has been a great show, Jade and Mark, I've got to jump off for a call. You can't call him right now. He's doing the interview. Tim, relax.
That'll be later on.
I wanted to mention this. People have probably seen it. I have my new strap from Lady Rhodaline. I know you're in the
joined the guitar strap.
You're in
club.
the Lady Rhodaline strap club, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I was going to post something really morose with it and have it around my neck and tie it to the ceiling. Go, thanks for just to Lady Rhodaline. But that's too disturbing. But that's me. It's a beautiful strap. So if you haven't got one of those, man, I feel bad for you because they're beautiful.
Get in touch with Lady Rhodaline and order one.
Order now. Get these free set of steak knives as soon as you order as well. All right. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been long overdue. I want to thank you also for being so brutally honest about stuff that's going on in your life, because it's not always easy to get up and talk about this stuff openly to the world on the internet. So it takes a lot of courage. So I want to thank you for that. You messaged me before and were like, hey, I'm ready to go anywhere. And I was like, anywhere? Anywhere. And then my mind got out of the toilet. But no, I think it's very courageous, and I'm always amazed when people come on the show and who are so open. Like, I don't know why people trust me so much.
Because you're a beautiful person, Jade.
I feel incredibly blessed to have so many wonderful people on and open up so much. So thank you for that. I think I want to thank you too for what you do within this community as well. I on behalf of everyone here, I'm sure everyone will agree, it's not often you get to thank somebody for all the hard work they do on channels. I see what you do on Ron's channel, what you do over on Jeff's channel as well, and just the encouragement you continuously give people. I think it's a really beautiful thing. So thank you on behalf of myself, and I'm sure everybody here who just loves the absolute shit out of you for everything that you do.
Oh, thank you.
I look forward to, and I know you've got another song coming up in the making, which I got to hear last night. You want to tell us a little bit about that? What's up next musically?
There's a couple. There's one that Marshall and I are doing that's pretty damn heavy.
Awesome.
But,
it's awesome.
You'll hear that one. Yeah, we've got the big international collab, which
tell us about that.
Yeah, well,
what you can tell us anyway.
Yeah, well, we've spoken about it in public before. So there's a collaboration basically that is myself, Jack Flash, Tim Roberts, Marshall Turner, and Hugh Caldwell. So it's been months and months in the making, but we're nearly there, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting. So we're going to do something a little bit different for a premiere, so everybody keep your eye out.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask you the famous last question that I ask everybody, which is incredibly hard, and I'm sure it's going to do your head in for hours on end. If somebody was considering becoming creative, when would you suggest a good time for them to start?
Yeah, like, again, probably the standard canned question or answer is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk historically, as soon as the thought hits your head. Yeah.
And there's no time like the right time. And the reason I ask that every week is just to drum it home, because people need to know. Just do it. 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 There's no time for regret, man. We're in a time where we don't know what's coming around. I don't know what's happening tomorrow.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. And
yes. If you have a thought in your head that you want to do something creative, well, yeah, stop thinking about it and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go out today with a song by you and another MT. It's the MT collaboration, Marshall. And tell us a little bit about this song, because I was going to play this at the beginning, but I thought it'd be better to go out with, because you've been so honest, hurt, and all this stuff that has happened, and this is such a beautiful song. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was basically a lot of what I write is stream of consciousness. And yeah, myself and Marshall were, I kind of think, in the same kind of headspace at the time. And being a close friend, it was just my thoughts. And he sent me back something that was interesting and kind of took it somewhere that I wasn't used to, and added my parts to it, and sent him a video, and this was born. So Marshall did all of the video production and the final mastering and that on this track, but involved me a lot in bringing it to where it was.
I'm sure you're going to agree. It's an awesome track, folks. There is a link to Mark's YouTube channel in the chat, in the description. Go and sub him up, folks, if you haven't already, to hear all of his fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you hang on the line at the end of the show so we can say our goodbyes and finish off what we started at the beginning of the fucking hell, I'm a dickhead.
Thanks for having me, Jade. It's been great.
Thank you for coming on, because, I asked you a couple of times before, and you were like, yeah, it could be a possibility. I'm like, that doesn't give me much to go on. You're a bit elusive, but we got you here, so. Alrighty. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for those who popped a super chat in as well. You're very kind. Thank you all for being here. We've had over 40 people pretty much all the way through this, so you're all very, very cool. And I'm off tomorrow, and I won't see you until the weekend when I'm doing my opening hour. And it's 90s this week for me. Yay, 90s, my era, man. All right, guys. This is I Hurt When You Hurt. And enjoy, and we'll see you again soon. Alrighty. Take care. Goodbye. I lost my screen there for a second. See you later, alligator. Let's do this. Boom.